Welcome to another episode of the SportsBros Podcast, featuring the almighty B Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative, Eddy Cool. The SportsBros Podcast is a sports podcast that's by the fans, for the fans, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the SportsBros. It feels so good to be back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats, dogs, Pikachus, and everybody across the world. This is episode number 127 of the SportsBros Podcast. Lord knows I missed you. Yes, I have missed you. You know, life things happening, so we have to take care of that business, and so the business is taken care of. And with that being said, we are back with another episode of the SportsBros Podcast. Of course, you hear my wonderful radio voice, and I could go on and on and on like Erykah Badu did back in 97, but I'm not, all right? I'm going to introduce two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? Oh Lord, I forgot what I was doing when we first set up. I was like, man, should I be on the left side or right side? 2 weeks and so much has happened. Man, I'm just excited and ready. I'm especially excited for this week's episode because this week is going to be loaded. And I will let you know why. Stay tuned in the podcast. And then, of course, there's that other guy that we got to introduce every week because, I mean, he sort of is part of it. So, yeah, go ahead, Eddy. Cool. Go ahead and introduce that other guy, you know.
We gotta factor him in too, man. Of course, he's the money man. He's the money man. And with that being said, the other guy, the pride of Washington, Pennsylvania, none other than the one, the only, the money man, Scottie D.
Ooh, baby, it's a wild world. What a wild one on Sunday for your Dallas Cowboys.
Oh,
we
God.
are rolling. We're rolling. We're rolling, baby. Pitt Panthers rolling. Dallas Cowboys rolling. It's a good time to be a sports fan. Man,
Yankees are not in the playoffs.
Yeah, we're not worried about that. We're well past that. That's over and done with. But hey, listen, missed you guys last week. For those of you who don't know, a good friend of mine passed away from Myrtle Beach. My dear friend Walt Garnett, who was a Hall of Fame baseball player for Marshall University. Great guy. Loved the Cowboys, loved the Yankees, just like me. It's why we hit it off so well. I called him my pappy. Greatest guy I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. It was he was 83 years old, so it wasn't a it was not a tragedy that he was able to live his life out so much, but it was somewhat unexpected. So that's why we had to take our hiatus last week. But yeah, I had a lot of great memories with that guy. He probably would not be a happy guy right now because the Boston Red Sox are sizzling right now. At least as of this recording, you know, and him being a Yankee fan would not be none too happy about this going on, as neither am I. And we'll get into that a little bit here later there, Eddy Cool.
All right. A little quick word about Mr. Walt. We used to work out at the Scottie? Mega Fitness.
Yep.
Yeah, back
in Myrtle Beach.
Mega Fitness. And whenever I would see Mr. Walt, man, it was always a smile and a handshake, welcoming and inviting. And he's definitely going to be missed down there in the community. So rest easy, Uncle Walt. Uncle Walt.
Yeah.
Call him Uncle Walt, man. He was kind of like an uncle, man. So rest easy, man. And to my mom, dad, and the rest of them, I said hi. All right. Moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to talk about football. We're here to talk about sports because this is the SportsBros Podcast, all right? We're here to talk about week 6 of the NFL season. Fellas, it seems like this season just started like what, 2 weeks ago? Yeah.
It's going fast.
Yeah, going fast. Yeah, next thing you know, it'll be week 10 before you know it. All right, so as you know, we've been doing a series of questions of who we think is this and who we think is that, but we changed up a little bit. And so, in typical SportsBros fashion, we changed it up again. All right, so bros, here we go. It's been 2 weeks since we talked about football, right? In the past 2 weeks, who do you feel has established themselves as a legitimate contender and who has dropped off? All right. that you previously liked as a contender? One more time. Who do you feel has established themselves as a legitimate contender, and who has dropped off that you previously liked as a contender? Scottie D, you first.
Well, I will tell you that I am starting to take the Baltimore Ravens a little bit more serious. They're winning some big games. They're looking impressive. Lamar Jackson, you feel like he's like the whole show, but defensively they're playing pretty well. I feel like he's starting to spread the ball around a little bit more. And to me, I've always said that my issue with him was too much running and that your receivers would run routes and turn around and he'd already be broke the pocket. And not only that, but one of the teams that I considered to be not necessarily a Super Bowl contender, but a playoff contender was Cleveland, and they're falling off. They're not. I'm not impressed with Cleveland right now, especially I don't feel like Baker's taking extra steps to carry the team. And defensively, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, I had some good moments, but they had a bad week this past week. So the Ravens, to me, are taking control of that division when I thought that division might be a little bit more competitive. And this might sound a little strange because it's early and I still consider them a contender, but I don't consider the Chiefs as much of a lock as I did before. They suddenly seem like human, and they went to the last two Super Bowls. I practically gave them a bye into the Super Bowl this year again. But guys, their road, I think, has become very difficult because of the Ravens, because of the Bills. They're not. Tennessee might still have a little bit of a challenge for them. The Chargers, I know the Chargers lost Sunday, but the Chargers have to be taken seriously at this point. I just don't think that it's going to be as easy a road back to the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. So, at this point, if you would ask me, I would say I like the Bills to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC. So while I don't necessarily say I don't like the Chiefs as a deep contender, to me, they don't look in sync to me yet. Defensively, they're a little bit off. Mahomes hasn't looked to me nearly like the MVP he has of past years. So I think a little less of the Chiefs, a little less of Cleveland, a little more of Baltimore, and probably a little bit more of the Arizona Cardinals. But hey, how about them Cowboys? B-Live, over to you.
Yeah, you had shameless plug every time. Something about the Cowboys. I'm gonna tell you one team that is you really got to keep your eye out on them real quick. The Cincinnati Bengals, 4-2, and their only losses were a 3-point loss to Chicago and a 3-point overtime loss to Green Bay. I mean, they easily, if you really think about it, they could easily be 6-0.
Yep.
Then we're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. We got a resurgence of a healthy Joe Burrow. We got a combination of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, they're out there. And I mean, Joe Mixon Dixon out there doing what he's doing. Man, I'm telling you, keep your eye out for Cincinnati. A lot of people sleeping on them. We shall see. There's going to be a couple of big tests because Cincinnati, Baltimore, that happens twice. So that's going to be a real big test. And the team that has fallen off for me, I agree with you, Scottie D, the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm going to tell you exactly why they've fallen off. They can't stop a nosebleed. Their defense is terrible. I'm over here like, you can't really I know they paying Patrick Mahomes $500 million, but hey, there's 11 dudes that suit up on the other side of the ball that ain't doing a thing. I mean, hey, Tyrann Mathieu, I need you to say, just grab some, honey badger, do something.
Were you disappointed in them against Buffalo at home last Sunday? Not this past week, the weekend before.
Thing about it is, I think that's more Buffalo being that good as opposed to Kansas City being not so.
But they went in there and they owned them though. They didn't just like kick a field goal and win that game. They pretty much dominated them on their own field there last Sunday night. 2 Sundays ago.
And that weather delay didn't stop a damn thing. That weather delay does not stop nothing.
That again, like I said, that is a testament to how good Buffalo is, because people think about Buffalo, they think about Josh Allen, his dual threat ability. They think about I just had a brain fart. You know what I'm talking about.
Diggs.
Yes, Stephon Diggs. That family is legit. By the way, I'm gonna say that for you. I'm gonna give you that, Scottie D. That family is legit. Yo,
Seven's nice,
man. Good Lord. But yeah, Buffalo's defense is playing lights out. They are not allowing a thing. There's been 3 shutouts this year after 6 weeks in the NFL. 2 of them are by Buffalo.
Right.
So I mean, they're playing 0 games, and so I mean, Kansas City they got a tough out. They got a real tough out because, like I said, there's a lot of talent. Don't sleep on Cincinnati. I'm gonna tell you another team don't sleep on. Can you think that team is falling apart? But they showed us this past week. Don't sleep on the Raiders.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on Las Vegas. I think that the players in the locker room, they said, hey, this is our time. This is us showing the world that we are capable of doing this. We got all these distractions around us, and they came out strong. Henry Ruggs, boy, I wish I had him on my fantasy team. Good God, lit it up. Derek Carr doing his thing, man. Hey, so there's a lot still to be unraveled. We still got 12 more weeks of football, by the way. 11 more games. Man, so we shall see. But yeah, Kansas City, you better you need to find defense. Offense, I think Patrick Mahomes is still going to be able to distribute. He's still going to be able to do his thing. But defense, whoo, they got to do something. They got to do something.
Yeah.
How about you, Eddie? Cool.
Yeah, Kansas City has always had a bend but don't break defense. But after 2, successful years via the offense, I think we're now starting to see the breaking of the defense, and that's sad because it's such a talented team with all kind of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Scottie D, I'm going to have to roll with you. I'm going to have to say the Browns have backslid just a little bit. I don't know what the hell is going on with the Baker and Odell connection. I don't know if that's the end of this experiment or if it's not working, because something's off.
They never had chemistry. They never have.
Yeah, they never had chemistry. It's off, and it's been like, Donovan Peoples-Jones stepping up, Hollywood Higgins and all those other guys stepping up. And now they're dealing with injury as Kareem Hunt, he's on the IR with a calf issue, and Nick Chubb just missed this Sunday's game with a knee injury as well, too. So the Browns are backsliding, but hey, we're only 6 games into the season, but anything can happen. While we're in the AFC North, I'm going to have to say the Baltimore Ravens, ever since they lost week 1 in Monday Night Football, they find a way to win. The Ravens find a way to win, be it the record-breaking 66-yard field goal by Justin Tucker one week, Lamar Jackson beating Kansas City the following week, and then what he did last Monday. As he got a big win there too against who did they play?
Colts.
Yeah.
Monday night. Oh.
Yes, over the Colts. He threw for 400 yards. I think 200 of those came in like the fourth quarter or the second half or something outrageously crazy like that. So Lamar Jackson, he can get it done with his feet, and he shows that he can get it done with his arm as well too. He's getting Hollywood Brown involved, Mark Andrews involved, and everybody is all hands on. And then the defense is a little middling, a little middle of the pack, but it's bending but not breaking. So for all you critics that are harsh on Lamar Jackson,
say it.
He's a running back that can throw. Look, this man got drafted as a quarterback, therefore he is a quarterback. He just happens to be a very fast quarterback and mobile and knows how to use his legs. Okay, he's a different breed of quarterback. This is a new generation coming in. We got a lot of dual threats going on. So for all of y'all that sit at home on your couch pick boogers, eat nachos, live in your mama's basement. You're probably still wet to bed. Just do me one favor and hush. All right.
I'm glad you said that because I wanted to be known to those that vote for MVP. Do not sell this man short. That man lost first string, second string, and third string running back. And like you said, the defense is This man, Lamar Jackson, has taken this team on his back.
Yep.
I want to start the talks right now. He's going to be a 2-time MVP if the voters do the right thing. If the voters do the right thing. Don't be trying to fit somebody else into your narrative. Josh Allen is good.
Yep.
Are you guys overlooking America's quarterback?
Stop it immediately.
Are you overlooking
America's quarterback? We're not overlooking. He's not there.
You're hurting my feelings, you guys.
You're
hurting my feelings.
Then I'm definitely going to do it. That's exactly what I needed. Fuel to the fire. I'm hurting your feelings. I'm really.
You didn't mention. Neither of you guys mentioned.
And I'm not going to mention them because
I gave you a chance to mention them as contenders. You hurt my feelings, guys. You didn't mention them, and Dak Prescott's balling, baby. He's balling.
Hey, watch this. Hey, you know what, Scottie D? I'm gonna do you a solid. I'm gonna do you a big solid right here. Do not let this go to your head when I say this. Dallas hasn't emerged as contenders. They're actually finally playing the way they're supposed to be playing. They haven't emerged. They've been contenders.
Better chance of getting to the Super Bowl. Cowboys or Ravens?
Cowboys, easily.
Really?
Yeah, easily. Right now, as it sits, I'm going to tell you right now, the Cowboys are the third best team in the NFC right now. And I'm actually going to put them second.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them second. I'm going to move them up to second. I'm going to move them past the Rams. They're the second best team in the NFC right now.
Well, so who do you have first? The Cardinals?
Yeah, easily.
And then you have the Cowboys ahead of the Buccaneers? The Buccaneers beat them?
Yes.
Interesting.
You want to know the reason why? Because I think that after that game that they lost to the Buccaneers, they've grown.
Yep.
They're growing day by day. They're starting to notice that, hey, run the ball. Run the ball. Run the ball, feed Zeke, feed Pollard, and then play off of that. That's
a lot of weapons.
That's when Dak can really start showing up. Every time Dak is thrown for 400 yards, what do? They lose.
Yeah.
Not Sunday. First time for everything. I wasn't even paying attention to this Sunday. Finally, but that's what I'm saying. I will say this. You asked for it, I'm gonna give it to you. The Cowboys are dynamic. Just don't be the Cowboys in the playoffs. Just don't be somebody different.
Problem is we have Mike McCarthy as head coach, and he could come back and bite us at some point.
So that's why I'm telling you, you got the talent. That's why you're not emerging as a contender. You're a good freaking team.
Yeah,
you're ridiculously talented. The
defense is going to have to continue to
Was it Trevon Diggs?
Yeah, Trevon Diggs.
Trevon Diggs.
Trevon Diggs.
The defense still needs to be better. I think if they're going to be considered contenders, because they won the game Sunday, but they still gave up 4 touchdowns. That's a lot in one game for a defense that wants to be considered a serious contender. So I still think that they're in the growing process with a new coordinator and with a lot of new pieces. And, they just waived Jalen Smith, who was considered to be one of their centerpieces of their defense in the last couple of years. So I still think they have some growing to do defensively if they're going to be considered serious in January. But hey, I'm enjoying the ride so far.
I got to do this real quick because I also need to get this off my chest. Carolina Panthers, stop force feeding Robbie Anderson. He is a liability. Yep. What in the world? Every time we've targeted him, he got targeted 11 times in that loss and caught the ball 3 times. 3 out of 11 targets.
That's not good.
Drop C's. Because he had a little temper tantrum. He had a little Odell Beckham situation. And now Sam Darnold is forcing him the ball, and it's been bad every single time. first play of the game, interception. Man, stop force feeding. Carolina, do something, get better. Hey, Christian McCaffrey, just rest up, ice up, come back in 3 weeks. But come on, we are not that. Carolina's not that bad. Come on.
No.
But yeah, it's just woo, boy. Had to get that out there.
Then we got people calling for Joe Brady head. It's just a whole lot going on in Charlotte. But once everything kind of simmers down and we get some sense of normality, we'll be all right. Especially when we get Mr. Stephon Gilmore when he comes in that loaded secondary, that very loaded secondary. It's gonna be fun to watch the remaining parts of the season. All right, fellas, moving right along while we're in this NFL conversation. A game that we're looking forward to next week, right? And I'll go first. I'm looking forward to the Bengals and the Ravens, all right? The Ravens are 5-1 on top of the NFC North, and the Bengals are at second place with 4-2. As I stated earlier, week in and week out, the Ravens, they find a way to win because they defeated the Chargers last week. Was last week or the week before? Week before, I'm sorry. 34 to no, it was yes, it was Sunday. I'm sorry. I got my days mixed up. They solidly defeated the Chargers 34-6. And the Chargers, they have a pretty good high-powered offense. And for them to do that at home, that's a pretty big deal. So the Ravens are definitely putting the league on notice because, as you stated before, Be Live, they lost a slew of running backs, and then they had to go get Le'Veon Bell, and then they had to go get Latavius Murray, and then they had to go get Devontae Freeman. And what does Baltimore do better than anyone in the league? Run the ball. They don't care who's back there. They had Mark Ingram, Gus Edwards, and somebody else back there at one point a few years back. They still ran the damn ball. Baltimore found a way to run the ball, and also getting Hollywood Brown in the passing game, getting him open, and then they got Rashard Bateman. He finally came back. He's paying his little dividends and everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the Bengals and the Ravens this coming week. Scottie D, what say you?
Well, we're starting to get into the bye week section of the schedule. If you look at next week's schedule, you probably already picked the best matchup, Eddie, because if you look at our schedule coming up here, there's a lot of teams that we consider very good going against very bad teams. Washington at Green Bay, Philadelphia at Las Vegas, Detroit at the Rams, Houston at the Cardinals, the Bears at the Buccaneers. I mean, it's top heavy with like really good teams hosting really bad teams this week. Yeah. Of those, of what's coming next week, I'm still on the topic of Kansas City to see how they're going to look at Tennessee, because Tennessee is a team that as we're speaking right now, they're down to Buffalo, but they're still grinding it out. They're still a grinded out team. So I'm still not sure who Tennessee quite is at this point in the season. And I'm not quite sure who the Chiefs are. And I think that would be a significant win for the Chiefs to get back on track. I keep waiting for them to flip the switch. And I really thought they were going to do it with Buffalo coming into their place last week. I thought this is the type of thing that's going to rally a team together and get right. Sometimes, as a team that's been to a couple of Super Bowls, you get a little lackadaisical on these supposedly lesser teams. They're getting paid too. But I thought that they were going to really come out and look sharp against Buffalo, and they failed to do that. I had a flat first half against Washington and then finished strong like we would expect them to. So let's see how they look against Tennessee next week. How about you, B-Live?
Y'all took all the good answers because
there's not a lot. Yeah,
there's not a lot. Look,
Scottie D, like you said, I'm over here because we analyzed it because I'm like, Eddie said my first answer, Scott said my second answer, and I'm over here looking like, this is.
It's a weak schedule for the NFL, really, next week. It really is.
It is, because I'm like, okay, what's the best game on here? And I was like, let's see. The Thursday night game is okay, I guess we got the Bengals and the Ravens.
Well, and some of our teams that we typically are interested, the Cowboys, the Steelers, the Bills, the Chargers, all on bye weeks next week. So that, and it just happens that all these teams that we already are thinking of as good teams are also playing at home against these weak teams. It's not even like road challenges for these teams. So, yeah, it's going to be a light schedule. Be a good weekend to get out of town and go on a little mini vacation or something, won't it, guys?
Yeah, you might be on to something. You might be on to something. But you know what? I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna stay this game right here because these two teams, both of them, are desperate for a win this week, and it's the Thursday night game between Denver and Cleveland.
Yes.
Like they both like if Denver actually wants to be something more than what we thought they were going to be, which is nothing this year. If they get this win right here, that puts them at, I believe that puts them at 4-3 and puts them still right there in the midst of everything. And a lot of things can happen. Cleveland, if they don't win this game,
they gotta take care of business at home.
They got to. Because I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. If Cleveland don't win this game, that's going to be a locker room upheaval. It's going to the people going to start calling for Baker's.
Oh, they're gonna be grumbling.
And this is the worst time because he's going into a contract year. Okay, and I can tell you right now, somebody has already secured the bag, and that is Lamar Jackson. He has secured the bag. Josh Allen already got the bag. Baker Mayfield, bruh, Cleveland, you got to win this game right here.
And he's hurt now too. He's hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a sling at the press conference. I would think he would probably play because it's his left shoulder that's bothering him. But yeah, I mean that's bad timing for Baker because the team is struggling and he's not carrying them. We really needed to see him, like you said, B-Live on a contract year. You would expect a little bit more because it seemed like these other young quarterbacks are starting to take steps. Burrow's taking some steps. Herbert's taking some steps. Dak, to me, looks better than he has at any point in his career. All these guys that came out right around the same time, they're all making some strides. Lamar Jackson, same draft, they're all starting to elevate a little bit, and he's not.
Yep. So I'm gonna be watching just to see. Actually, I don't know if I'll be watching because I'll be with my mother. Love you. Well,
that is so sweet. You are a good boy, B-Live. You are a good boy, Brian. Going home to see your mama. I love it.
That's what I'm talking about. The best. All right, we got all our games and stuff in for the NFL and everything.
We do.
Yep.
All right. We'll be back for week 7. All right. Moving right along, we're going to talk about baseball, the playoffs. And let me tell you something about these baseball playoffs. If you blink an eye, it'll be over. Here we are. We're at the league championship series for the American League and the National League, all right? So we got the Braves. They have a 2-0 lead against the Dodgers, right? Yes, a 2-0 lead against the Dodgers. And the Red Sox and the Astros are tied at 1 apiece. Fellas, did we think we would see the Braves jump out to a 2-0 lead this early in the series?
I'm gonna go ahead and jump in real quick. Nope. I did not, and I'm a die-hard Braves fan. I'm going to be honest with you. Man, these games have been airtight. I just really thought that the Dodgers pitching was going to cool our bats. And they have. The Braves have not produced as many runs. But I definitely, when it came to pitching rotations, I definitely had the Dodgers being more dominant. But the fact that we are up 2-0, we took care of business at home. We have home field advantage, even though we won 16 less games than they did. Oh. You got to love the seedings.
Yeah,
man, but it is what it is, and boy, Atlanta for the A making noise. Oh my goodness! So I'm telling you, I am very, very, very pleasantly surprised. And so, like, it just give me one of either game 3 or game 4 in LA. I'll be fine. I believe we'll be able to pull off one more. I feel really good about my Braves right now going to the World Series. I'm absolutely loving it.
Well, game 3, you got Charlie Morton against Walker Buehler. That is a classic pitcher's duel, and you would think that the Dodgers should have that advantage. But Charlie Morton in postseason is money. He has been for several years now with the Astros, with the Rays, now with the Braves. I would say I'm kind of surprised because I think the Dodgers were expecting to get one in Atlanta. You know, especially coming off that series when I'm going to tell you, here's what really bothers me
again.
Yeah, and they're hot. And Austin Riley right now has been just money. He's been a beast. But I really am bothered by Dave Roberts' managerial style in the postseason. Every year I say this, every single year, and again, you know, he's doing this. You know, I feel like he's working his pitching staff against itself by starting off these 1 inning, pull a guy, 1 inning, pull a guy. You get this Urias, let him be your starter. And if he doesn't have it, then go to your relievers.
Let him cook.
Why burn your bullpen early and then have what's called a bulk pitcher? I mean, what's that? Come on, man. It's over management, I think, and I've complained about Dave Roberts for I feel like every year now in the postseason. And last year he got away with it because they were the most talented team in baseball and they got the job done. But I don't like that style of tinkering with your pitchers too much and putting them in positions that they really aren't used to doing. You know, you got a starter and you're putting him in the 3rd inning. And if he's off a little bit, then he doesn't have that luxury of getting into his rhythm in the 2nd and 3rd inning and going deep into the game. I don't like it, especially in the postseason too, where every at bat is important, and you might pull a pitcher earlier in a 5th or 6th inning in the postseason to get a pinch hit in there, where you might do that. In a regular season, you might let a pitcher bat because you want him to go a couple extra innings, but in the postseason, if you have an opportunity for a run, you might pull. You know what I mean? It's just I don't like that style. I don't like the opener and then another pitcher and then a bulk pitch. I don't like that, and I think he's getting out of his routine. And the Braves are hitting the ball. I mean, they scored 5 runs to walk off in game 2, and what was it, 4 in game? I mean, 4 and 5 runs should be enough to win you a game most of the time. So I like what I see of Atlanta. And hey, if they win, I want to win some money. I put money on them back in January to win the World Series this year. So
wow,
I wouldn't be too upset with that. What's upsetting me is the other side. The Red Sox are just hitting grand slams, like more than most teams are getting base hits. They got 3 grand slams in 2 games back to back. Unbelievable.
It's okay. It's okay because
it's the 2 teams I dislike the most playing for the right to go to the World Series. It's not okay. It's not okay. You had the cheaters against the team that had the cheating manager. It's not okay. I don't like it at all. I don't like it.
On the next episode of Major League Baseball Cheaters.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the Astros, and I'm rooting for them, and I don't like it. And Boston. In the meantime, the Pirates haven't been to the World Series since 1979, and the Red Sox just keep going, and I'm sick of it. I'm mad about it.
Scotty's a little bit irate about all that.
And we're just I'm going to give you a quick live update as we're recording. The Red Sox are up 9-3 in the bottom of the 6th. Against the Stros, so on top of the 6th. I do apologize. Yeah.
Where's the Astros pitching? They're suddenly got no pitching down there. What the heck's going on?
Non-existent. The highlight for me, fellas, I'm not gonna lie. I've been watching bits and pieces of the baseball playoffs. Max Scherzer gets really drunk really fast at the end of the the wild card, and then the divisional. He got really drunk really fast. He was on TV cussing. He was just out there being Max Scherzer. I mean, it's
crazy
insane.
Eyes and everything.
Yeah, he was drunk.
Yeah, he out there in his shorts, under his uniform, chest bumping people. Just, hey man, I'm just doing stuff, man. It's doing stuff. It's just as far as celebration goes, I think you should save all that for like when you win the league championship series, and then when you win the World Series. It's like, why are we celebrating this hard for winning a wild card game? Because guess what? That means you still got to play. Why are we celebrating this hard when we win a division series? You still got to play. Like, what are you doing?
I got a question. How did you feel about him closing Game 5 of the divisional round and getting the save, and then turning around and starting game one of the championship series. I was like, wow, is this really happening? Like,
well, it's in the postseason, you're doing stuff that you wouldn't do pitching wise in the regular season. I remember a few years ago, we saw Madison Bumgarner pitch, I think, a whole game, or like 8 innings into a game. And then the next night he came in as in relief in like the 3rd inning or 4th inning and finished the game. You know, Randy Johnson did something similar to that back whenever he was with Arizona. It's not that, I mean, it's not like he pitched a bulk load when he pitched that last inning. You know, I think sometimes when managers, and I'm actually almost contradicting myself with what I'm saying as far as Dave Roberts managing, but in that situation, I like the fact that he said, my best bet is to get Scherzer out there. He's my best guy. You know, Kenley Jansen's been his closer all year, but if you have a better opportunity to do a different way to slam the door, then you do it. And it's not like, you know, Scherzer's a guy that can pitch 9 innings. So just a 1 inning and then, you know, a day off and then pitch again. That's not going to hurt a Scherzer. It's not like he pitched bad. I mean, the Braves didn't actually rock him. I think they got 2 runs off him in 7 innings, 6 innings, whatever it was. So, but it's for the Dodgers though, winning that wild card and then the travel may have been a little bit of a factor. I mean, you know, that could have played into them being a little bit lackluster with the bats. And Justin Turner is having a neck issue. He hasn't gotten his bat going and didn't even play, but for a pinch hit in game 2. That's definitely hurting him. And Muncy being out, but there's enough bats in that Dodger lineup to get the job done. Just right now, it's been either game they could just as easily be up 2-0. Braves just got the timely hits late in the game when it counted. So there it is, 2-0. Yep. Now the Braves have to feel like the Dodgers did going in there. If the Braves can get 1 out there, they got to feel pretty good about coming back. And what's it? They're 2-2, 1-1-1, I think, in this format, if I'm not mistaken. So if they can get 1 out in LA and get a chance to close a game, then they'll have 2 different chances to close out at home. So,
all right. And I want to mention this real quick, because I know that you may be confused about this whole fact. The month that we're in right now, it is Jocktober. Yeah. Jock Peterson, man, I love the bat. It's hot. It's hot. Yes, sir.
Against his old team.
Yep. What do you say in the dugout? I'm a bad MFer. I was like, oh, boy.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy, it's on
Samuel L. Jackson approves.
Yeah. Pass it out wild over there. You know, the one that said BMF on it. Yeah, that one. All right, with that being said, we talked about football. We've talked about Major League Baseball. But coming up next is the Be Live Top 5. Stay tuned. As mentioned before, this is the Be Live Top 5. And here with us to host the Be Live Top 5, none other than the almighty Be Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your boy, the almighty Be Live. And this is what we like to call #Be Live Top 5. This is unlike any other ranking system that they got going on out there, because you know what? I don't care what the public think. I don't care what the people, the coaches, whatever they got going on is how I feel. And you can say whatever you want to about it. And let's go ahead and get into it real quick. My number 5 after this week, and I want to piss off an entire state when I say this. My number 5 team in the country right now is Ohio State. There's a reason why. I just believe at the end of the day, I don't believe in the state of Michigan. I said what I said. I don't believe in the state of Michigan. You have 2 undefeated teams in that state, but I haven't seen them really beat anybody. Michigan State's best win is against Miami. That was way overrated to start the season. I said, yes, I called somebody overrated because I'm wearing a shirt of a team that may have possibly been overrated this year, but it's okay. I said what I said. I think Ohio State does what it needs to do because they've gone through the gauntlet before. I think Michigan State, they haven't really seen that big game attitude. I think that Ohio State edges out and ends up winning the Big Ten. They're just sitting back. Nobody's talking about it. They're number 5. Number 4. Yes, they're undefeated. But man, oh man, I'm definitely not convinced when it comes to the Big 12. But they're undefeated. I put Oklahoma number 4 right now. But there's a big game for them coming up, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit at the end of the season before the Big 12 championship, because Oklahoma State's also undefeated. Just to let you know, nobody's talking about them. Number 3. Yep, Nick Saban. Here you go. Number 3 is Alabama. I think at the end of the day, they still get the job one way or the other. I just think they bounce back, and it's Alabama. I think they've been letting a lot of yards go by. They've been a lot. Their defense needs to do something. But at the end of the day, I just don't see anybody that's more deserving. I don't see it yet. So I'm putting Alabama back up there. I'm putting them up at number 3. Number 2, because it has to be this year's got to be it. It's got to happen. Cincinnati Bearcats, number 2. They win out, and they're in the playoffs. I'm putting them at number 2 because they have one of the bigger wins this season, and that's over Notre Dame. At the end of the day, top 10 team, Cincinnati beat them, and they went out. They are the number 2 team in the country by their resume. Oklahoma's just not convincing me. They struggled. That Texas win, 55-48. The only thing that's going to make Oklahoma better, and I'm going to say this right here on the air while I've got it, is that switch at quarterback. Can you believe the two players that were preseason Heisman favorites? One of them is on the bench.
Wow.
Spencer Rattler was the number 1 preseason Heisman ranked player. He's on the bench, and Oklahoma does look dangerous with that switch at quarterback. And number 1 by a lengthy margin. I'm saying by a mile. The best team in college football right now is Georgia. And there's no reservation whatsoever. Georgia is getting it done on both sides of the ball. They allowed 2 more touchdowns this week. That brings them to a whopping total of 4 all season.
Wow.
Georgia's got they're clicking on every side of the ball. Only team that can beat Georgia right now is Georgia. That is the only team that can beat Georgia right now is Georgia. So if they lose, they didn't get beat. Georgia lost it themselves. They beat themselves because the talent that they got. Georgia, I'm telling you right now, if you see, I'm gonna say it loud, I'm gonna say it proud. Georgia, if you don't win it and y'all still your last championship was back in 1980, bruh. I don't care what you did to my poor little Clemson Tigers. Yeah, I'm talking all the trash. Fellas, tell me something. What y'all think? What y'all got going on? What y'all think about a little top 5 situation going on?
All right, so
I'm not going to argue with you on them. I actually like pretty much how you slotted all of them for the most part here. It's funny. Georgia beat Kentucky 30-13, and it didn't feel like it was that impressive because of how well we think of Georgia. But that's a team that was Kentucky's 11. They were 11, and they beat them by 17 points, and it feels like almost disappointing because Kentucky is not known for being a very good football team in the past, and this year is their kind of coming out year where they're showing some improvement. But yeah, Georgia's outstanding. The coaches in the AP agree with you because they're just across the board. They're right now they're head and shoulders above everyone. I'm interested, like you said, to see what this quarterback change does for Oklahoma, because they as good as they are, they have been a little shaky, and and Texas had them on the ropes. But I mean, I was a little disappointed that Iowa gave up that game to Purdue. I mean, I wasn't expecting that one. And what a hard plummet they took. They went from 2 out of the top 10 altogether. That's a heavy drop for that team. I mean, they're now looking up at Penn State, who they were riding high after defeating a week ago. So, B-Live, I like your top 5, man. I'm giving it to you.
So, one thing I'm going to say, the coaches switched it around on me. They put Oklahoma ahead of Cincinnati. How and why?
They did, yeah. I saw that.
Why? Well, I'm saying why. So give me a good reason why you put Oklahoma ahead of. Are you really? Here's the thing. Maybe again, these are coaches, so they know the game a little bit better than I do. But are you really putting Oklahoma ahead of Cincinnati because of a game and a half of football play from the quarterback switch? He's good.
And it's strangely enough, there's no Pitt to be seen in the top 5 or top 10 on AP or the coaches poll. No Pitt to be found. So.
See, this right here, once again, I told you that there was a whole state that is not going to like me after this week. But I have to give props to one team in that state that did their job and Pittsburgh didn't. Western Michigan. You lost to Western Michigan. You don't get it.
Very, very good these days.
I'm not going to entertain.
Possibly have the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback back there, Kenny Pickett. I mean, it's very, very, very hard to believe Pitt's not getting more respect. Maybe they will on Saturday when Dabo shows up. Are they going to have to beat Dabo to get some respect on their name?
Put some respect on their name.
I tell you what, let's go to that game and watch it together firsthand. What do you say, boys?
Let's do it. Let's go watch.
You know what? You know what? You might as well. Let's go to the
Clemson game Saturday.
Let's change all the plans. I will see y'all on Saturday then.
See you at Heinz Field.
Fine. Hey, you heard it here first. The Sports Bros Podcast will be traveling to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for the Pitt Panthers versus the Clemson Tigers. And then Eddie Cool's just going to be there. And
he'll be moderating.
I'll make sure y'all don't kill each other, because if I can make sure that y'all don't kill each other on this podcast, I'm pretty sure I can do the thing.
Are you going to sit in between us?
I don't. Well.
You might have to.
I might just sit there and just do like I usually do while you guys are on the podcast, just talking like, hey you, but you gotta, yeah, be like, I like your top 5, man. I'm not gonna lie, man. I like your top 5, man. I especially like seeing something different in Cincinnati being in there, man. I really like seeing that. It's it's time for something different, and who knows? I mean, Cincinnati could be this year's Boise State, but better. And whoever you put in front of Cincinnati, they just beating them. They just beat them. It's like, hey, whoever, whatever, don't matter. Come on, we gonna bear claw scratch the hell out of them. Oklahoma, I'm just like you, be live as far as that doggone Big 12 go. Yeah. The conference, they don't play no defense. It's kind of hit or miss. Alabama is Alabamaing. They're gonna do Alabama stuff, and the Georgia Bulldogs, well, the proof is in the pudding, but yeah, the proof is definitely in the pudding. In Ohio State, they'll find a way to get in. Just like Urban Meyer finally got his first win of the season.
Hey, still winless in the United States.
He gets no respect from me.
Still winless in the United States.
Yeah, make sure he washes his hands. Where his hand. Mr. Booty Hole Man. I said what I said. Why? God, I can't stand it. Oh my God. Good
old Urban Meyer, man. Because since we last got together, fellas, USC Southern Cal, they did fire their coach, and I forgot what podcast I was listening to. It's like, hey, what about Urban Meyer going to Southern Cal? No. Don't give him no more jobs. Don't give Urban Meyer don't need another job as long as he lives. After this Jacksonville job, that's it. Take your money, get the hell out of there, get you a TV job or something. Because you're gonna be I don't feel good. That's because you're losing. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm looking at him Sunday. I thought he was being static. looked like he was passing kidney stones on the toilet. I'm like, is this the way that victory looks? Like, Urban Meyer, like, what do you do? He was like, oh, I thought the man was about to pass out. I mean, if he got health issues, man, take care of that first and foremost. That is no joke. But don't start losing and be, oh, I got to go because of my health. Bro,
but oh boy, don't you? Oh my! If he say, oh my God, if he even remotely thinks about, he just if Urban Meyer wants to leave, he better go into the Jacksonville front office. Go to the owner, Shad Khan. Just go to him. But hey, bro, fire me, please. I want you to fire me because I cannot just say I'm leaving or resigning due to my health. I can't say that. You got to just fire me.
They're going to eat me up. They're going to tear me up. They're going to kill me.
Yeah, because let it be known, listeners, viewers of the Sports Bros podcast, if Urban Meyer finds a way out of not coaching at Jacksonville, I'm going to celebrate. But if he finds a way to try to make an excuse that it's because of his health or this, that, and the third, I will eviscerate him. This will be a tongue lashing of epic proportions. Urban Meyer, I want you to hear this. Somebody, please make a way to share this to Urban Meyer. Your boy, the almighty B-Live, 1/3 of the Sports Bros podcast. I do not like you at all. What you stand for. Oh, you are an incredibly trash human being. Ooh. And I said what I said. I just, please, just don't even, oh, good Lord. I'm sorry. I'm Wusa.
Yeah, let's get back on track here. Go back. Do the Amtrak thing. Amtrak.
Yeah, Amtrak. Yes, please do something. I blanked out right there.
Yeah, B-Live had a pure blackout moment. And thanks once again for B-Live with his very own segment, the B-Live Top 5. And speaking of time, guess what time it is?
Ooh, what time? Button?
Is it clobbering time?
My bad. It's just about clobbering time, but it is time for our favorite portion of the show, the choices of the voices. And with that being said, hey, yo, Button, hit it.
Button.
We back, baby.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so loving Miss Button, who had a birthday a few weeks ago. So happy belated birthday, Miss Button, for introducing our favorite portion of the show. You heard the woman. It is the choices of the voices, where we ask you a question, and then you give us an answer, and then we'll give our answer. But before that, we'll discuss yours, and we'll probably pick at you. But remember, it's just all clean, good-spirited fun. You never know. B-Live might put somebody in the penalty box. I might start busting out laughing. And Scottie D might just tell somebody to simply do better. And speaking of Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
All right. Speaking of the NFL, what stadium is most difficult for an opposing team to visit and come away with a win? Team that enjoys the best home field advantage. And I tell you what, we had some answers in here that gave me some perspective on things I hadn't thought of, Eddie. Cool.
All right, cool. And so let's go ahead and dive right into these answers here. All right. Leslie Cox, she says, speaking from experience, leaving AT&T Stadium in Arlington on the losing end was brutal.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say this real quick. You don't have to worry about that too much, and you really don't have to worry about that in January. So, I mean,
wow.
It's not as brutal because, the most brutal places to go to, they still play in January. Ask the Arizona Cardinals in 2015 because we gave them hell. Man. But yeah,
who was we? Carolina?
I'm talking about
Carolina?
Panthers. I said what I said.
The team that came out of AT&T Stadium in Arlington with a loss just a few weeks. I digress. Go ahead, Eddie Cole.
I'm glad I didn't spend money on that game. They're just going to tell the listeners that we were almost at that game.
Yeah, we thought about that.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I probably would have been really drunk by the third quarter. I'm not gonna lie to you. It would have been painful to watch. I'm enjoying this big old trouble trying to. What the hell are you doing? Yeah, it would have been real bad. It would have been bad for all parties involved. So.
I might have fought somebody. I don't know.
You'll fight a cowboy or two. All right, so moving right along, we got the Hall of Famer himself, Uncle Max. He said, right now, I would say Buffalo.
Right now, that's a pretty good answer.
Nobody wants to go to Buffalo right now. It's too damn cold.
And they're good. And they're good.
Yeah. And the Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
They whenever you got fans that are literally wanting to elbow drop people through tables, when they're tailgating, that's a dangerous crowd. That's just dangerous. It's a recipe for disaster.
And then when they had the little babies, like the little newborn babies, I don't know if you guys saw the video, but like mom and dad were Bills fans, and they had a little makeshift table. It was a breakaway table, obviously, and it kind of took the baby, was like, bloop, and I was like, if you're a kid in Buffalo, 9 times out of 10, you're going through a table.
Craziness.
Another episode of 90s ECW. All right. All right. So here we go. We got Corey Logman. He says probably the Seattle Seahawks. That's a good answer. He said this is a long trip, relatively speaking, for many teams to travel. All right. Also, that 12-man crowd really seems to show up strong for every home game I've seen on TV there. He ain't lying.
I hadn't thought much about that before. That's a great point. Seattle has a 12th man, and the noise in that stadium is high, and also a little bit of cooler weather. But yeah, the travel time is another one too. I hadn't really considered that, and that's a great point made.
Yeah. Still on my bucket list. Not to go to a Seahawks game. I actually want to go to a Seattle Sounders game. I want to see a soccer game. I've heard ridiculous stories about how loud and crazy a Seattle Sounders game gets. So that's definitely something that's on my bucket list. So that's a good answer, Corey. I like it. I like it a lot.
I know we hop around sports, but I want to go to a Seattle Kraken game.
Release the Kraken.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I gotta make it to a Hurricanes game. That's gonna happen this year, by the way. I'm going to a Carolina Hurricanes game this year. Somehow, some way. I might be homeless. It is what it is. All right, cool.
That's not gonna happen. Speaking of the Seattle Kraken, shout out to Ryan Donato. He scored the first ever goal in Kraken history. That's gonna be a trivia question 20 years from now. So remember the name Ryan Donato. All right, move right along. We got Mark Olds. He says Jets have a brutal time, home or away. What's the
question? Well played, Mark. Well played.
Oh man, that's a hip. Touche. Good time. Cheerio.
He said it. He said it don't matter across the pond, over in MetLife Stadium. It doesn't matter. They catch a hard time wherever they go. Poor Jets. Sorry. All right, so here we go. We got Hot Rod, Ronnie Bellamy. He said, I'd say noise-wise, Seattle. Weather-wise, and noise-wise, Seattle. And then he said weather-wise, and okay, here we go. No, weather-wise, nobody wants to go to Buffalo November or December, even when they suck. All right? Now they are legit, and that makes it even worse. So here's the deal. Buffalo gets destroyed with a lot of snow during the wintertime because it sits right on the lake. That thing called lake effect snow ain't no joke. Living here in Northeast Ohio, I know all too well about lake effect snow. Shout out to the guy that showed my driveway not once but twice during Christmas because I ain't with it.
So Hot Rod said noise-wise it's Seattle.
Yeah.
Weather-wise it's Buffalo.
Yeah.
Got you. And just to let you know, I sort of stole my little comment about Buffalo from him when I saw it. I was like, yeah, that's absolute facts. Yeah. Buffalo winter, no, no.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. It gets cold and they get hit with a lot of snow. All right. All right, so here we go. Trey Dizzle, he said the Dallas Cowboys has the best home field advantage because we have home field games in Dallas, Arizona, Vegas, and LA. He kind of right about that because when they went to LA, wasn't it like a bunch of Cowboys fans?
Yeah.
The Rams and the Chargers have away games when they're home.
Yeah.
Like almost every single game. Whoever they're playing has more fans at that stadium. And that stadium is worth $5.1 billion. They built that stadium for the people of LA. And
they want to go surfing.
Yeah.
Man.
Me and B-Live can attest. There's a lot to do in California. There's a lot to do, and if you're not into football, that's okay because there's something going on. There's some festival, there's some parks. You can go to the beach. You can do all kind of stuff in California. Like you really can. And so as far as like that's crazy. Like okay, we're gonna be in this nice stadium, but when you play the Raiders, silver and black all over the place.
Only thing you can't do in California is smoke a cigarette outside of a dispensary. I couldn't believe that. I said I can't. What at this point? You know what? I'm gonna leave that all the way. I digress. I spoke too much.
All right. Moving right along. We got Lisa Caputo. All right, Scott. Lisa Caputo. All right, and I'm going to summarize this because she wrote an essay. It was very, very well written, Lisa. As a writer, I appreciate this. All right, so to summarize it, weather conditions from a weather standpoint. Chicago's frozen field and wind, and the elements also at New England and Green Bay. Then you have to factor in Denver's altitude is a huge problem for the players. Yeah, and remember Ryan Clark couldn't play because he had sickle cell and everything, and that messes with you. But if you're a kicker's paradise. They love it. Chicago, Green Bay, and Seattle, they have the fans and the crowd noise. A lot of domes are extra loud as well too. She said when she went to Indianapolis, she couldn't hear herself think because it was so loud in the Lucas Oil Field or the RCA Dome for the throwbacks. All right. And then she said, I think it depends on the visiting team. Is it a visiting opponent too? That's a nice factor. Like it's brutal for Steelers and their fans to visit Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. Okay, those are tough as well too. Let's see. Jerry World could be.
Let it just be said that Lisa is a big time Steeler fan and has traveled to all these places at one point or another, so she knows where she's speaking. So she's been all over to see the Steelers.
Yeah, hostile, very hostile. She says Jerry World is a lot. Jerry World could be a distraction because of all the hoopla, because there's all kind of stuff going on in Jerry World. I understand it. She said, I've been there 4 times and their fans were quiet, especially when you beat them, I guess. She said, you don't even watch the field because of colossal jumbotrons in your face. Dancers and cheerleaders on every corner is annoying. So Lisa cannot stand Jerry World. All right. Let's see.
Shade.
Yeah, she said, I remember in Boston, the fire alarm was pulled at the Steelers Hotel at 3:00 in the morning before the AFC playoff game. All right. So it's that. And then you also have to deal with Philly. The Philly crowd noise was loud too. And in the old San Diego Stadium, Qualcomm Stadium, there were more Steelers fans than there was Chargers fans. And she says Steelers Nation travels well. She's not lying to that. Let's look at the bar that we frequent when we go home, Oscars.
Yes, Steelers fans travel well, and they brag about it all the time. But the reason is because we leave Pennsylvania. That's why we're down in Miami and in Arizona and San Diego. We're leaving here. It's cold up here. We get out of here. So that's why we travel so well from this area. But she picked every stadium. She picked every team. And didn't answer Heinz, where she goes all the time. But and Heinz actually can be a little bit of a tricky place to play. They have the one end zone with the wind whips through, makes it tough on field goal kickers and that type of thing. But welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, Queen Caputo. We're glad that you're listening. We appreciate you.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw this out here. That I don't know if we had the gallery view, but I was eating my popcorn because I knew when you were about to read that essay that there was going to be a whole movie. So don't get any bright ideas, Jr. Smooth Star Walker, that you could just write a whole essay and we're going to read the whole thing. This was a special case because the reason why we read all of that and we included all that is because she's been to a lot of football games, which means that at some point in time, she may want to sponsor the Sports Bros podcast for us to go to a game. So I'm saying, we just protecting our future investment.
Yeah.
So we'll allow it this time. The next time it's a dissertation, you might have to go into the zone. Say that I'm just saying, we're not applying for a doctorate degree or anything like that. This is three dudes that are fans of the sports. Lisa, we love you. Appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your input. That is what the Choices of the Voices is all about. Yes, sir.
Yep.
And shout out to Lisa for representing the female demographic of the Sports Bros podcast. There is one, whether you believe it or not. And Lisa sure proved that one. So shout out to Leslie, Uncle Max, Corey, Mark, Hot Rod, Trey Dizzle, and the Queen herself, Lisa, for their participation on this week's Choices of the Voices. My voice cracked, but it's all to the good. With that being said, Scottie D, what say you?
I shuffled my answers around a couple of times. I'm landing on Lambeau Field. It's because they've been good up there for such a long time. A lot of rich tradition history. They had Brett Favre for an eternity. They've had Aaron Rodgers for an eternity. So they've had good. The franchise quarterback's been there in place so long. You got crazy fans, crazy weather. The Pack, it's tough to go there and beat them when they're playing well. How about you, B Live?
Yeah, I will definitely agree with you on part. When anybody wants to willingly wear a block of cheese on their head, that's a whole nother level. But I'm actually going to do something unprecedented. I'm going to piggyback off of Trey Dizzle, but for a different reason. And Trey Dizzle, let me go ahead and put this out there on the air. Kiss my entire rear end. You got your money. Shut up. Anyway, I said what I said. But I'm gonna add something to this because it's a brand new stadium. But the fans are crazy. And I'm going with Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas. I'm going with that because not only because of the way the fans have gravitated to they're trapped, like diehard Raiders fans are traveling to Vegas to watch these games. And then they're also like they've already taken over. They took over LA. Raiders fans took over. Like that was a home game for the Raiders, that one game. And so like that'd be a little scary to walk in there. All these nice amenities and everything, but it's still Raiders. And $1.9 billion spent with Allegiant Stadium, man. So I'm gonna get there one day. I promise you. See what happens this coming year because a couple of your boys are turning 40, and you might be headed to Vegas to celebrate turning the big 4-0.
All right.
Yeah, I said what I said. Eddie, cool. What you got for us? Where you think is the most intimidating stadium?
Let's see. I would have to say the Seahawks Stadium. I forgot the name of it. It's not called Quest Field. It's a different name though. I would have to say their stadium because it gets loud, really loud. I remember they saying like when Marshawn Lynch had that epic run in the playoffs against the Saints, you could feel the building. You can feel the building, like the ground shaking, like it was that much noise and that much fanfare and that much commotion in order for that to happen. Because like every level he broke, it just got louder and louder and louder. I remember sitting home, at my mom's house. Okay, I saw him running. He broke another tackle. He threw the guy out the way, and next thing it was like. this noise, and it's like it drowned it out. Damn, it drowned out Mike Mayock and the other guy, and I was like, man, this 12 man, this ain't no joke. This is real deal. Like, it's a whole lot going on, and it's just it's a very loud building. I mean, opposing offenses catch hell with the false starts and everything. It's real intimidating, very, very intimidating. So I would say that stadium. And B Live, I also agree with you with as far as the Allegiant Stadium goes as well too. And if you remember the old black hole in Oakland,
right, the Coliseum.
Yeah, the Coliseum. You would look at that on TV like, damn boy, that's it. It just had a dark, gritty feel to it.
Yeah.
Like, you look at it on TV like, boy, this an old ass stadium. Boy, this is some tough football being played. You almost got scared, but I'm in my living room. Almost got scared. But I mean, so I would have to say Seattle, followed by the old Oakland Coliseum, and Allegiant's not that bad. Not that bad.
And I'm going to throw in there for you. It is now called Lumen Field.
Okay.
It used to be CenturyLink, but as of this year, Lumen Technologies, I believe, has the naming rights to the stadium. So it's called Lumen Field. It used to be a Tribe Called Quest Field, and then CenturyLink Field, and now it's Lumen Field. I had to throw that out there. It was pretty cool. All right, but yeah. Yes, sir.
I greatly appreciate that. All right, fellas, so we got all our stadiums in?
Yes, sir. We got it.
Wonderful, awesome, stupendous, amazing. With that being said, Scottie D, what's on tap next week for the choices of the voices?
All right, here's what we're going to talk about next week. What traditions from other football teams, college or pro, annoy you the most? We know football is chock full of traditions. Even more so, I think, in college than in pro. Which ones annoy you the most? That will give us something to talk about next week, Eddy Cool.
Yes, it will. Because I'm about to, this is going to be fun because I already got my answer. It's going to be too easy. Eddy Cool already knows what I'm going to say.
He's coming for you, Eddy Cool.
All I got to say, where's the bulldozer and where's the damn jackhammer? Ladies and gentlemen, check us out next week for another edition of Choices of the Voices. Yeah, I want all that mess over.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
You heard the woman. It's time for us to go home and get the hell up out of here. But before we go, we're going to do a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really. Here to enlighten, engage, educate, and entertain. I think I messed it up, but hell, you get the picture. And with that being said, I'll go first, all right? On this day in history, back in 2006, the National League Championship Series, the St. Louis Cardinals defeat the New York Mets 4-3, and the Cardinals went on to win the World Series 4-1 over the Detroit Tigers. And at the time, it was their 10th World Series championship in franchise history, and their first is 1982. And since 2006, the Cardinals have won it one more time in 2011. Fellas, the temperature's breaking. It's getting a little cold. It's almost November. Time for some good old World Series baseball. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right. So we have always agreed to kind of just barely brush up against that, which is a super controversial. In other words, stuff like John Gruden and his emails. But without getting too much into that, let me tell you something that bothered me a little bit about that situation. It was after it happened, Mark Davis was asked to elaborate on the situation. He said, no comment, go ask the NFL, they know everything. And he got killed over that. This is the case I hate, where the media is being self-righteous. He don't want to talk to you about it. All right, he just had to fire a guy that he thought enough of to give 10 years and $100 million to for some private emails that occurred when he wasn't even employed by him. Now, you think he's in a good mood and he wants to sit there and talk to you and further denigrate the guy he just threw in the can? Stop it, media. Mark Davis, you're fine. Keep wearing your hair the way it is. Be live. Over to you.
I was literally about to say it. He is far from fine with that haircut. I have to say that I was about to say no, he's not, but that haircut is atrocious.
I love
Jesus Christ. But now on to, y'all know how much I love my college football. So let's bring it back to 3 playoff games that we are looking forward to coming up this week in college football. The first one that you might not be thinking about, but is definitely up there in the stratosphere when it comes to importance. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers are traveling to Boone, North Carolina against Appalachian State. That's going to be huge. And you never sleep on App State, I promise you that. And that is a hostile environment. Can Coastal Carolina do what needs to be done to keep their undefeated streak going and still possibly be in the mention of a New Year's Six bowl? Because I wonder if Cincinnati makes it to the playoff, does Coastal Carolina get a New Year's Six bowl, being the top group of 5 ranked team? So that still is out there. So that very much we're going to look into to see how that goes. Eddy Cool, the ball.
All right. And to piggyback off of the whole John Gruden situation, Scottie D, thank you. My second pepper point is the Washington football team's ill timing of Sean Taylor's jersey number retirement. All right, so I understand that there's a time and place for everything. And I try to see the sense and the logic into everything in life, but then sometimes there are just some things you just can't make no sense of. For example, Sunday, they retired his jersey number. The family didn't give any speech. The road that they dedicated to Sean Taylor, in the background was some stinking porta potties. Yes, I saw this on Twitter. All right. If you ask me, it has to be the world's worst timing, and it had to be put together on such short notice. We all know why. They can tell us it ain't, but come on. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all the people all the time, all right? So the Washington football team were doing that, who still does not have the name. First of all, how in the hell you let the team formerly known as the Edmonton Eskimos in Canada get the jump on you by naming their team the Elks, and we're going on year number 2. Oh, we don't have a name for the football team. The hell's wrong with y'all? Anyways, man, that's another story for another day. There might be a video Thursday if you're lucky. All right, so here we go. They seem to put this together on short notice. It seems like 4 days ago, the fans were like, hey, come up to Washington, we're going to retire his number. They put his number on the bad spot of the field. People just walking all up and down his number, being mad disrespectful. Daniel Snyder, he showed up in a hoodie and a pair of khakis. And all this is going on during this whole email investigation scandal. Look, dear Washington football team and y'all fans, your organization needs an internal overhaul like the Cleveland Browns, and it starts from the top with Daniel Snyder on down to the bottom, because Daniel Snyder has done absolutely nothing for that organization but spend some money. Albert Haynesworth, Deion Sanders, and they catch people on the tail end of their careers. But this right here is really the turd in the punch bowl, all right? The turd in the punch bowl. Daniel Snyder, we see what you're doing. We're not impressed, and we're not fooled. Over to you, Be Live.
Well, this was actually go over to my man Scottie D.
I'm sorry, I'm so damn
because
hot. Over to you.
I know you hot about it, but on top of that, this is a perfect time for it to go over to Scottie D because there's a hashtag for the Washington football team. Scottie D, if you could.
Do better. Do better.
Thank you.
Speaking of doing better, the Penguins are back, baby, and we're doing better this year. They are out of the gate hot, 5 points in their first 3 games. I'm taking Penguins to win the Stanley Cup this year, Be Live. Penguins are probably going to win the Stanley Cup. Penguins over Avalanche in a sweep.
Oh,
wow.
Be Live, over to you.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize to you right now. I know that we had opening day for hockey. It snuck up on me. I got to catch up on it. But
Yeah, Penguins Stanley Cup.
Yeah. So college football, the second playoff game we're looking forward to that you might not know about. Here it is. Oklahoma State just came off a nail-biting victory against the Texas Longhorns. Went into Texas, went into Austin, and showed them what's really good. Show who the real Cowboys really are at Oklahoma State. I said what I said. But I'm going to tell you right now, they're walking into a trap game. If they want to stay undefeated and have a chance to make it into the college football playoff, they have to go against the one formerly ranked top 10 team with Iowa State. They're going into Iowa to play the Cyclones. And this could very well be a trap game. Oklahoma State on upset alert. If they want to make it into the playoffs, they absolutely cannot sleep on Iowa State. Check that game out. Eddy Cool, the ball.
Playoff implications. All right, so here we go. Of course, if you've been following me in my career movements and everything, you know that I've been covering high school football games up here in Northeast Ohio for Keon Sports Media for the last few months. Last week was my last regular season game. I'll be looking forward to covering the playoffs as soon as I find the schedule. The last game I covered were the Avon Eagles, and they played host to the Midview Middies, all right? Avon defeated the Middies 55-7, all right? 55-7. It was a complete,
like college football.
Literally, yes. 55.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh boy. 55-7. All right. So quarterback Sam Datilio, he went 12 for 13, 291 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the first half. All right. So Slanging Sammy D was out there cooking big time. He connected with teammate Ethan Holbrook for 3 of those 5 touchdowns. All right. And Ethan Holbrook, he finished the night with 4 receptions, 129 yards, and 3 touchdowns. All right. So needless to say, at halftime, they seated the starters. Yep, they seated the starters because the game was well and over with. And the Middies finally got onto the board in the late stages of the fourth quarter. This week, Avon hits the road and they play the Amherst Steel Comets, and they're looking to win at least a share of the Southwest Conference title. So, I really enjoyed it. Shout out to all the athletic directors for working with me and fulfilling my dream. I greatly appreciate it. And, thanks. And for those that are going to the playoffs, I might be covering your school soon. You never know. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, so a couple Saturdays ago, Deontay Wilder stepped into the ring with the one heavyweight in the world that's probably better than him, and he got beat up. Tyson Fury won the third fight of their trilogy by knockout after they had a draw in the first one, and Fury stopped him in the second one. He got him again in this third one. But I tell you, watching that fight, the heart of Deontay Wilder, to me, will never be questioned again, because that dude was taking some punishment, and he still managed to drop Fury on his tailbone a couple of times. Guys, I don't know when the next time is going to be that we're going to be this interested in boxing, particularly heavyweight boxing, because there's just not a whole lot out there that is going to draw our interest. But for the time being, this was it was borderline epic to see these two, the best in the world, go at it. And you don't always get that in boxing. You have a lot of waiting, and you have a lot of politicking on the different the different associations. But it was nice for boxing to do what boxing has done throughout history and put the two best heavyweights in the ring together at the same time. And I got a lot of respect for both of those guys for doing that, and for both of them for laying it all out there and giving entertaining fights. Don't know when we'll see. We'll fall in love with boxing again. I hope it's sooner than later, but that was a nice end to that epic trilogy with Tyson Fury getting the win. Now we have to look forward to Tyson Fury's brother. He's going to fight Jake Paul. That's your boy, B-Live. Over to you.
Don't you do it. Don't you ever. you.
Your boy.
Oh, so you know what? Oh boy. Let's do this real quick. Game 3 of playoff games during the college football season that we're looking forward to.
Game number 3.
Fellas, it's the game that we're going to. It's Clemson versus Pittsburgh. The Tigers versus the Panthers. As of right now, the Panthers are sitting in first place, undefeated in ACC play. So they have the front row ticket to make it to the ACC championship. The roadblock in that plan is the Clemson Tigers. Of course, Clemson is on the outside looking in with the loss against NC State. So they need NC State to lose twice and beat Wake Forest later on in the season for Clemson to have a chance to make it to the ACC championship. But they also still have to beat Pitt as well. And what makes this even bigger is that Pittsburgh comes into this game with the number 3 scoring offense in the country. What does Clemson come in with? The number 2 scoring defense in the country.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give. The irresistible force meets the unmovable object. It's about to go down at Heinz Field. And your boys, the SportsBros Podcast, will be there. So, hey, oh my God, epic proportions, and we will be there live. Hey, I'm going to throw in something else for you, fellas. Take a wild guess who is the number 1 scoring offense in all of college football right now.
Pitt.
I just said they were number 3.
I thought maybe they scored since you said that and they moved up.
I hate you.
Coastal Carolina.
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow.
Coastal Carolina University has the number 1 scoring offense in all of college football. Unbelievable. Ohio State comes in at number 2. Pitt comes in at number 3.
And I tell you another team that's pretty good offensively. Western Michigan's put 64 on the board this past weekend. Western Michigan 64-31 over Kent State. That's an impressive Western Michigan team right there.
Are you literally trying to hype up that same Western Michigan team that your Pitt Panthers lost to make it sound a little bit better, a little bit more easier to handle? Because
I can't remember if they lost to them or not, but Western Michigan put 64 on the board this weekend.
Yep, they put 64 on the board. That's a lot of points, man. A lot of high scoring affairs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that about does it for another episode of the SportsBros Podcast. But before we get up out of here, Spotify listeners, I'm talking to you, all right? So in case you don't know, there's a partnership between Anchor and Spotify, right? It just keeps on getting better. We can now ask you questions via the Spotify app. We had a poll about I think it was the Bills and the Chiefs, that game, and then we had another poll about something else too. So Spotify listeners, I'm talking to you. Check out this week's poll. I don't know what the question will be, but I'm pretty sure I'll come up with it some way, somehow, sooner or later. I also have a TikTok tutorial of how you can participate in the polls of our podcast. That's right. Spotify listeners, get engaged, ask questions. Yeah. Oh, it was a Q&A section and a poll section. All right. So, check us out. Show us some love. Scottie D's going down the elevator. I hope he doesn't fall. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They'll appreciate it. Now, more than ever, the SportsBros will be together this coming Saturday, Heinz Field. I'll be sitting in the middle of B Live and Scottie D's so they won't kill each other.
Hail to Pitt.
All right.
Let's go, Clemson. All in, baby. It's about to go down. Yes, sir.
Thanks for listening. We love you and we appreciate it. Take care of each other, too.